Posted by you/KanariQT. F with my car? Lose your home. Hey everybody, I am a long-time lurker and big fan of this sub. This is also my first post, so here is my obligatory apology. Any formatting errors and the length. I condensed this post as much as I could, but I needed to include relevant background. I never thought I'd have any interesting stories to post here that would qualify as pro-revenge, but boy did the world have other plans for me, or should I say, my asshole neighbors did. Background. I should start by saying that I don't live in the best area of town. But it wasn't absolutely awful until the summer began, when my next door neighbors' teenaged kids and their friends had nothing better to do than loiter around all day and be loud and commit petty crimes. The people below my next door neighbors had a rock thrown through their window, several neighbors had minor car damage like dents from them sitting on cars or throwing basketballs around and inevitably hitting cars. These tools would bang on people's doors for the fun of it, and often sit in a large group clogging up the only stairs up to my apartment and be rude when I would try to step over or around them. They never stood up for a second to let me by. I should add that 2 or 3 families lived next door in a 2-bedroom unit, literally at least 12 to 15 people, way over capacity. They also had friends over constantly and would yell and scream and fight with each other all the time, luckily never too late at night though. Despite all of these nuisances, I never complained about them. Sure, it was obnoxious as hell, but I'm not really a complainer and I wasn't losing any precious sleep. I'm a pretty easygoing tenant, I pay my rent and bills on time every month, my dog never barks, etc. The events. Unfortunately for my good neighbors and myself, their crimes escalated in severity. They actually broke into my cool downstairs neighbor's place. He caught them red-handed trying to steal his shit. He called the cops and made a police report and everything, but somehow nothing was done. I suspect it is because he used to be cool with these neighbors and actually look after and feed some of the kids, so he had a relationship with them, and they had been in his place before. Anyway, them breaking into his place really freaked me out because my downstairs neighbor is a huge, scary-looking guy, but is actually super nice, while I am a 22-year-old girl who lives with 2 other girls my age. So, if they would break into his place. I contemplated getting security cameras for my own place after my downstairs neighbor told me what happened to him and showed me his new setup. But unfortunately, before I could, that's when it happened. Days later, when I got up in the morning to go to school, my tire was completely flat. They slashed my tire. They slashed my tire. I was livid. I had never done anything to any of them. My tires are good quality tires and were brand new, literally 3 weeks old, and a gift from my dad. I barely had the money to replace my slashed tire. As most of you probably know, car insurance and tire warranties don't cover vandalism to tires, so I had to buy the replacement in full. I was so enraged at this point. These shits have been committing crimes, destroying property, and basically getting away with it despite complaints to management and police reports. I swore to my girlfriend and myself that day that I would see to it that these horrible people would get evicted. I didn't care how long it took. I knew it was a matter of time before they did something else that would warrant it. After I filed a police report, I showed my manager the pictures of my clearly slashed tire to file a complaint. He promised if they got one more complaint of property damage they would be out. I also got that security system I wanted. The revenge. Well, the revenge isn't the most glamorous or exciting revenge. What did I do? I documented everything. Every time they clogged the stairs, which they had been warned about multiple times, every time they were exceptionally loud, which they had been warned about multiple times as well, every time they did anything that would count as a violation that I had overlooked in the past. Nope, freak these people. Easygoing KanariQT was no more, not for them. My apartment manager actually encouraged me to report them for every little thing, I suspect because he was sick of these a-holes too. But I knew before I would send him my compiled report, I had to have something good. 2 weeks passed. I hardly saw them around. All quiet on the Western Front. Until they finally came back, thinking that they had laid low long enough and the heat was off of them. Since the tire slashing incident, I have been parking at the building across the parking lot, instead of right in front of my own building because that's where they always used to hang out. On Sunday I caught one of the assholes sitting on the hood of my car talking to a bunch of the others, but they all ran away before I could yell at them to get off of my car. Upon further inspection I noticed that there was actually a large, shallow dent on my hood from them repeatedly sitting on my car. My roommate's car had a similar dent, and I see them sit on my downstairs neighbor's friend's car all of the time. Well, today, I decided to park right in front of my apartment where I used to park, in full view of my new security system. Lo and behold. Footage of them sitting and banging on my car. I sent my manager the angriest email I could muster while still maintaining completely respectful language, with the footage attached of course. I told him something must be done. I got an email back within minutes thanking me for notifying him and informing me that he would serve them a notice to vacate tomorrow. They will have 30 days. Freak with my car? Lose your home. As I type this while sipping my fresh iced tea, I can hear those shithead kids playing basketball, probably hitting more cars in the process, and shouting and laughing. I can't help but smile knowing they won't be laughing for long. Edit 727. Wow, I'm pretty shocked at how this blew up. Probably because I don't do social media and this is my first post on Reddit after lurking for years, but I really appreciate the many kind comments and suggestions. This isn't the interesting update many of you are hoping for. I just wanted to clarify a few things and address some popular questions and comments here instead of responding individually. First, I'm not going to say what the race of the perpetrators is. I don't want to make sweeping generalizations or cause racial tension, plus it would probably break Rule 6. Use your imagination. Maybe it is exactly what you would expect, or maybe it isn't. Doesn't matter. Second, taking them to civil court for damages wouldn't be realistic at this time. They only slashed one of my tires, which isn't enough to meet the monetary quota, and I don't even have solid proof of that. The only proof I have is of them sitting on my car and my neighbor's friend's car, and those dents are very, very shallow. They can be fixed with a plunger. I am just more irritated due to them giving no freaks about other people's property and continuing to be destructive assholes despite repeated warnings. Also, I don't know the identities of most of these kids. Most of them are not my neighbor's kids, they are their friends. None of these people have any money anyway. I did make a police report about my slashed tire, and as expected the cops never called me back. Third, I said this in a comment that's pretty high up, but I want to repeat it in the body of the post. My manager promised to keep everything confidential, and it is unlikely they would assume it is me who complained. So, while retaliation against me specifically is possible, it is not super likely. They have made a lot of enemies, including neighbors who are more vocal about their complaints. While I have barely any interactions with my next-door neighbors, I am continuing to act normal to not let on. I plan on moving when my lease is up in December anyway, but realistically if they do anything else to me or my property, I will effectively be forced to move out early. I'm sure if it does come down to that my manager wouldn't give me any trouble about it. Update to F with my car? Lose your home. Hey everybody. Kunari QT here with a long-awaited update to my previous post here. I'm sorry for not having updated sooner, but I didn't want to have a bunch of unnecessary posts and I figured I'd just give an update once everything was said and done. To pick up where we left off, when I came home the day after everything in my previous post happened, my downstairs neighbor informed me that our apartment manager had kept his word and indeed delivered the notice to vacate to the shitty neighbors. The day after that, the shitty neighbors immediately began to move out their larger belongings, washer, dryer, furniture. In fact, I noticed that most of their large brood had gone ahead and moved out then as well. The remaining family took their time with the rest of their belongings. And luckily there were no more incidents. They are finally gone as of this morning, hooray. Of course, there were a few random items /trash /food left behind on their front doorstep, and lots of tiny bits of broken glass on the stairs, but they are really gone. The sad news is, as if these people weren't awful enough, they abandoned their poor, sweet, indoor-only cat. It was so sad to come home to. The poor thing was huddled in my dead plants by my front doorstep. My girlfriend left him some tuna and water before she had to leave for work this morning, and my other roommate said he was meowing and pawing at the door to his old home until she also had to leave for work. I would have kept the kitty if I could, even though I'm not a huge cat person, because he's really super sweet. The second I came home he nuzzled me and curled up in my lap when I sat with him. But unfortunately, we couldn't keep him because of a 2-pet limit. And if anyone is wondering why neither of them brought him into our apartment temporarily, it's because my roommate has a cat, and since we didn't know the vaccination status of the neighbor's kitty, we didn't want to risk him giving her cat feline HIV or feline leukemia or something else. So, I brought the kitty to the shelter. The shelter called my manager to confirm that he was indeed abandoned inside of the apartment and that he was an indoor-only cat, which my manager confirmed to the shelter when he passed along the shitty neighbor's info. The cat was moved outside after he was abandoned because management had to clean the apartment. So, the shelter accepted him and said they would have the cops confront the family for animal abandonment. They may even face prosecution for abandonment charges because my manager was a witness to the abandonment and able to confirm it. So, looks like their kitty may also get some justice. At the very least, he will get a new, way better home and proper care. Please do not worry about the kitty being in the shelter. My city is no kill, and just in case the shelter does end up releasing him, unlikely as it is a catch, spay/neuter, release program for ferals and strays, I have a friend who runs her own animal rescue and she said she will take him in if the shelter either releases him or puts him up for euthanasia, highly unlikely as well. I got his intake ID number to keep track of his status, and I made sure that the shelter knew that he was very sweet and gentle and has lived with very small babies and toddlers as well as small dogs. Anyway, I realized that this update was largely uneventful and that it went a totally different direction than expected. I mean, I wasn't expecting it either, although I am completely unsurprised that they abandoned their lovely cat given their history of being complete and total douche canoes. Hopefully you enjoyed this closure as well as the bonus cat justice. Edit 8:24, 12:21 a.m. Alright gang, unfortunately I am back. Are you freaking ready for this? Because I sure as hell wasn't. It's been chill all day. Then about an hour ago I heard some loud whispering, quiet talking, up front of my door. At first, I was distracted while watching Drunk History and thought it was the downstairs neighbor being loud, not the cool one, the other one, and just what little sound made it upstairs. But then I slowly realized it was coming not from downstairs but from directly in front of my door. I'm home alone. So, I grab my tomahawk and peek out of my peephole. And I shit you not, I see 10 to 12 people sitting right on my doorstep. All huddled against each other. It kind of reminded me of a protest, or if they were about to become their final form. I practically shit bricks, this was not what I was expecting. Plus, remember, I'd barely seen any of them since they were served a month ago. And furthermore, I only recognized one or two of them. Most of them had large bags or small suitcases. So, I'm thinking, what in the ever-loving freak? So, I text my girlfriend and my roommate and they both confirmed that they both spoke with the manager when he stopped by with the cleaning crew, and the former occupants 112% moved out this morning. I contemplated calling the cops right then, but I decided to wait a bit to see if they left. I figure what if it's that other family that lived there and they didn't get the memo? At the same time, two of them I recognize, so wouldn't have they told them? About 30 minutes later it goes quiet, and of course my dog has to pee. I look again and don't see anyone. So, I take my dog outside. No one. But I glance back up at the apartments from across the parking lot and I see lights on inside of theirs. So of course, I'm like, oh my god, they're inside of their old place somehow. I fast walk back to the stairs and my downstairs neighbor is outside, so I ask him what the hell is going on. So, he tells me that they decided to try to come back. Why? What's their grand plan? I don't know. Maybe to squat for one more day. Anyway, apparently one tried to break in using a coat hanger while the others waited, and when that didn't work, they left. He is positive our manager changed the locks and says the manager must have left the light on. But they ultimately failed to get in and my neighbor is positive they all left. I sent the manager quite the email about this. The somewhat scary thing is my downstairs neighbor said our manager wanted to wait a day to change the locks, because of the cat, but my neighbor insisted that he not wait because he had a feeling they'd come back. Good guy neighbor, right again. God, I freaking hate these people and I am so done living here. Graduation cannot come soon enough. Now on to some comments. Posted by Sadsakashit. I'm happy for your happy ending but be careful about celebrating too much. I did that after the neighbors from hell moved out a couple of months ago, but the new residents are worse. OP responded with, if they are any worse than this, I will leave early. Period. My tolerance/patience/sanity is wearing thin, see the above addendum to this edit. Posted by the Flash of Lightning. So, there was like 12 people and a cat in a 2-bedroom apartment? Damn. OP responded with, yup. And 2 small dogs for a short time, but I have no idea what happened to them. They haven't been around in a long while. Posted by No Man Odyssey. Update. Are you alive? OP responded with, yup. I got an email back this morning from my apartment manager saying that he will have the complex courtesy officer patrol my area more, and to notify him if they come back again trying to get back inside their old place. I kind of doubt they will, I feel like it's all over. But we'll see. Posted by YTIAC5. Cities capture stray cats, spray/neuter them and then let them go? I really hope I have this wrong and that they are not doing that. OP responded with, yeah, they do that to prevent overpopulation and it reduces the spread of disease because they are also vaccinated before they are released. Unfortunately, there's just not enough room in the shelters for all of the stray and feral cats out there. It sucks, but it's the best they can do.